Welcome to the virtual open house for the City of Beaumont's comprehensive operational analysis of its transit program. While we would enjoy being able to see you in person, safety is our first priority. We're very glad you could join us today. Across the last several months, we've been gathering information from the community about what type of transit service is needed for Beaumont. You may have participated in the various project surveys conducted in December or in one of the community workshops held in February. We've taken the information provided during earlier outreach efforts and used it to develop a series of transit service recommendations. During this short video, you'll learn about those transit service recommendations. At the end of the video, you'll have a chance to tell us what you think about those recommendations. The transit service recommendations we will discuss are presented as a menu of options. In other words, the city may choose to implement some or all of the recommendations. The availability of additional funding may determine the order in which recommendations are implemented, or even whether some recommendations can be implemented at all. Some recommendations are policy recommendations. These are administrative changes that would work in the background to improve the customer experience and program performance. Recommendation number 1 would ensure all service information such as route schedules and fares is up to date, whether accessed by phone, using a printed brochure, or online. Recommendations number 2 and 3 would result in new driver relief and vehicle fueling policies that would reduce the impact of driver breaks and fueling on customer travel. Recommendation number 4 would continue service to Calimesa as part of the Commuter Link service, but limit the service to 2 existing service points in Calimesa. The service points would be Stater Brothers and Crown Village. Recommendation number 5 would ensure all stops are served as described in the published schedule. Sometimes drivers choose not to serve the last stops on the route during the last trip of the day. This is usually because there are no riders on the bus and there is a pattern of no boardings at the last stops. This recommendation would designate those stops as drop-off only on the published schedule. This would make riders aware that they should not expect to board the bus at that time and location. Recommendation number 6 would implement a 20% fare increase. The city receives most of its transit funding through the state's Transportation Development Act. As a condition of receiving that funding, Beaumont Transit must cover at least 10% of its operating costs through fare revenues or other locally generated revenues. At this time, the city is not meeting that goal, so it needs to generate more fare revenue and/or decrease its operating cost. For riders, this means a slight increase in the cost of a one-way trip. The city would continue to offer multi-ride fare options that offer savings over the cost of a single ride. Recommendation number 7 calls for the city to work with private employers to develop partnerships to provide additional local revenue streams. This is another way of increasing locally generated revenues to help Beaumont Transit meet its 10% requirement. Partnerships with employers can result in service to new locations or discounted fare options for their employees. Recommendation number 8 would eliminate the current flag stop policy. A flag stop is when the bus stops anywhere where it is safe to do so, to allow a rider to get on or off the bus. This can negatively impact on-time performance. Without flag stops, customers would need to board and depart the bus at a marked stop. The city would work with riders to determine if new stops should be added. Recommendation number 9 would result in the city adjusting route schedules to improve service reliability. This means that routes may be retimed so that stops can be served on time as compared to the published schedule. This might mean adding extra time to the schedule during certain trips or adding a layover or recovery time at the end of each trip. Recommendation number 10 would incorporate school service into the regular local fixed route service. School service would be offered as a deviation from the regular route where possible. Recommendation number 11 would improve service along Highland Springs Avenue. Providing service north of 8th Street on Highland Springs would connect residents in residential neighborhoods west of Highland Springs to shopping, schools, and other essential services more centrally located in Beaumont. Recommendation 12 would improve connectivity between Banning and Beaumont. Currently, Banning Transit serves Beaumont at Walmart, while Beaumont Transit serves Banning at San Gorgonio Hospital. The cities would work together to time their routes to have better connections with each other at these transfer points. In addition, Beaumont would work with Banning to potentially allow direct travel to specific key activity centers within each city. This service would be a closed-door service, which means Beaumont Transit would not pick up passengers in Banning except at the designated destination. Recommendation number 13 would extend transit service to the Crossroads Logistics Center and Rolling Hills Business Park. This is the location of the new Amazon Distribution Center, as well as several other large employers. Service to this location may be provided by rerouting an existing route, such as Route 4. It may also require extending service hours to provide effective connectivity to the business park at the times employees need to travel. Determining exactly how to address this recommendation will be further shaped by additional outreach to employers and employees within the Logistics Center and Business Park. Recommendation number 14 calls for the city to work with Sunline and the Riverside County Transportation Commission to minimize duplication between Beaumont Transit Commuter Link 120 and Sunline's Route 10 commuter length. Both routes provide service to San Bernardino and pick up at the Beaumont Walmart. This means some riders may choose to ride Sunline's route instead of Commuter Link 120, resulting in lower ridership and fare revenues for Beaumont. Coordinating the services to reduce duplication and competition for riders would benefit both communities. Recommendation number 15 would rebrand the transit system and update all vehicle branding and signage. Right now, Beaumont Transit and Banning Transit still use basically the same branding. Developing a new look, new colors, and possibly a new name for the Beaumont Transit program would help distinguish it from other transit services. Finally, recommendation number 16 would have the city prepare a fleet replacement plan to address when vehicles should be replaced and help manage its transition to a zero-emission fleet. This would enable the city to keep its buses in good repair while planning for future capital purchases. Now it's time for you to tell us what you think. On the virtual open house website, you will find 3 links. The first is the download link for a handout detailing all of the recommendations. You may wish to keep this handy when you provide your feedback. The second link provides an opportunity to ask questions. Submit your question via this link, and project staff will provide a response. All responses will be posted on the virtual open house webpage, and all questions will remain anonymous. Finally, the third link will take you to a brief survey, where you will have the opportunity to comment on all recommendations and provide input as to your preferences regarding the operational recommendations. Please take a few minutes to share your opinions and ideas. Thank you for taking the time to participate in the Beaumont Transit Virtual Open House. We look forward to answering any questions you may have and to receiving your input about the recommendations presented here. Don't forget, the virtual open house will be open for public comment from July 10th through July 24th. Have a great day.